Hello, everyone. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. And I'm going to start sharing my slides and we'll get started. Um, you're at Resources for a Digital Inclusion Community. Welcome. Welcome. My name is Michael Matos. I'm the Ed Tech Director for an organization called scaleLit in Chicago. And please introduce yourself in the chat and maybe with questions. And so you could put it in the Q&A, but let's see, how many do we have here? You could also share them in the chat, and I can go to one place and take a look at that. These are I'm going over toolkits and ideas to use throughout a system, let's say. A lot of this information comes directly from COAB's resource tab in their digital inclusion resources. So I'll be pointing back to that every so often. And some of the suggestions are, you know, share your own as well, your ideas for some of this tech help, I guess, resources as we go through this. Great. Glad to see everyone all over the place. Awesome. On this last day of Digital Inclusion Week. But the advocacy goes on, right? And the showing what the importance is in closing that gap and digital inclusion throughout our country is always there. And the more information and stories that we can put together to show other people that need and those successes that we've had continues year long. So just a little bit of what um, we'll be doing today, looking at today, a background of digital inequities in Chicago. Real quick, I'm just going to show you what we do, building the community, templates and resources. Then, of course, questions and some other contacts where we can continue the conversation and the sharing. One quick thing to share, obviously we're promoting Digital Inclusion Week, and we have our Pass the Sign, which is our, this time we do one for AEFL Week as well. At Scale It, digital literacy matters to me because you can find this, I've probably posted it all over social media. Or when you get this, you could always print it out, put your own logo in there, share it with me, share it throughout the network, and that's just a great highlight. Um, so great. Good morning to you all, and here we go. So a little bit about what we've been doing in Chicago and in Cook County and basically throughout the state of Illinois, but just to give you some very local, very near to me stats. Um, those digital inequities in Chicago were highlighted in 2022 through the Chicago Digital Equity Plan, and then later and now and current the Chicago Digital Equity Council. So what we found was that nearly 172,000 Chicago households were not connected, and those were predominantly in communities where the percentage, as you can see here, was 72 percent Black, 25% Latinx, and then the median income was about 35, under 35,000. A big gap in the digital skills, and nearly 60% of the study participants discussed barriers, related to these the lack of opportunities, and of course that confidence and in their skills for using a computer or the internet and so on. But we also saw that huge demand, that need, that express the desire to build knowledge and skills through programs like some of our classes that we see throughout. What Scala did was we put together some initiatives. We put together the Digital Learning Lab, which was a cohort community of sharing and learning. A lot of information that can be shared through our scalelit.org site, which I'll share a little bit later at the end. And a lot of resources connected to this, a whole digital learning lab website with resources as well. Career pathway navigators, so the digital literacy classes and North Star digital literacy assessments, we started giving these pop-up classes and allowing people to sign up for North Star and being able to gauge um, their uh, their skills and then continue with that. We also had these networks where we proctors and learning resources and training and so on that we went out not only for North Star but for digital literacy in general. So we had a number of technology giveaways, and then we still are continuing those, as well as resources for best practices and training offered through Zoom office hours as well. We do have Zoom office hours, which I'll show you later, and the digital literacy talks and other forms of relating some quick info and having that updated as well. To our focus was on twofold: digital literacy, to expand digital literacy, removing those barriers to access to digital tools and broadband, and then that coalition building to help organizations and individuals work together to achieve those higher levels of digital literacy as we've seen the need for. We strengthen our career pathway. So this is our second focus. Those navigators, those career pathway navigators that were traditionally referring already to digital classes and so on. We're trained as digital navigators and we're able to serve in a whole nother capacity, adding to those resources they were already sharing with those centers and the clients for those centers. So just a little bit of background and the need, what we do, how I got involved in all of this, and now just a little bit about building that community. So as we look at technical resources for for this type of digital community, the following resources are always needed, right? And are essential. So devices, internet access, hotspots, device repair services, which is a big need right now, especially as we are getting tools out to people. How do Where do they go for that service, especially if they did not buy it at a store and they maybe received it through some scholarship or a donation. Digital literacy training resources, curriculum development, training software, learning to management systems, learning management systems, which is very important to have in any one of our deliveries. Um, that this For the curriculum development, we saw that we're creating a accessible, culturally relevant training materials in multiple languages if necessary. So that's important. The training software. The access to digital platforms and online learning, such as video tutorials, webinars, and interactive lessons, always important and should be posted where learners and clients can get to on their own. And then looking at the learning management system, obviously to organize and to track progress of the learners, clients. Um, the classroom space, a virtual, physical, very important. A dedicated space for in-person and virtual training sessions. Where does that happen? And then, of course, volunteer trainers and instructors. These skilled volunteers and staff for teachings, these digital skills needed, and obviously something that can add to these programs. Um, Outreach and engagement resources. So we have a number of community partners and partnerships with these community members. So to collaborate with local organizations, schools, and libraries, to promote digital literacy programs as much as possible. The marketing and communication tools, materials promoting training and resources, flyers, social media, emails, campaigns, just some examples there. Um, there's so many, and obviously this, um, if you don't know how to use Canva and things like that, very much recommended. So take a look at those things, those production tools, to be able to put together some quick advertisements and marketing and so on, and of course in different languages as well. And that this whole thing to cater to non-English speakers and ensuring that that language inclusivity. Obviously, you can get templates prepared for all of this. Your support services, obviously, your digital navigators, digital slash career navigators, right? Your tech support hotline and chat support, and then of course those referrals that we are getting out to these other organizations that might fit the bill for that particular client needs as evaluated, right, as when they come in. So just an example here, we provide digital literacy office hours, for example, and that those are twice a week, for example, Wednesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 2, and there's a lot of conversation that happens on a number of different issues and successes, even proctoring issues, proctoring successes. So there's a lot of conversation that goes on there with our digital navigators. They trained individuals. They're trained in a number of resources to assist others with troubleshooting and navigating digital tools and resources to help people apply for tools online or internet, low cost tools are free, to help with basic tech issues in real time, and then to access give access to programs for anything from financial assistance, as mentioned, for all of those things, internet service, device, and grants for any low income families that can use not only the device but the training that comes with it. Some of the things the navigators provide, community outreach, general welcoming, referral services at their centers, and then of course just some of the what they've done in the last year, and obviously bringing all these tools together to get some of this stuff accomplished, right? And some of the data there. Okay, so just some examples of that. Funding and grants. We're a funding system that we have at where I'm at. It's a pass through organization. They're pass through grants. So providing those that funding or those scholarships or those stipends obviously take some building of those particular templates to carry out this information and to enlist those that might be part of the project as well. So a number of examples of this, and a little bit later I will refer to some of the resources on the COEB tab on their coeb.org, and some other resources. So, for example, one of the pass-through grants that we've had for a number of years now is our digital learning lab, where we've had about 100 plus organizations throughout the state participate in these cohorts of learning and experimenting, where the professionals come in to cohorts and share their experiences with different products, different classroom managements, different deliveries, platforms, and so on. So this was a major part of developing a lot of our templates that we use for delivering programs that are pass through, and where other organizations are actually providing the direct services and we're providing the professional development and learning circles for the professionals involved. Um, Evaluation and monitoring tools. So data analytics tools, feedback mechanisms, looking at those different tools, and I will discuss a little bit more as I go into the actual templates and resources. What tools are we using to provide the analytics and to provide the feedback as well, because that's all very important. Job skills training and partnership with employers, and very important. The training involves everyone with, I guess, within that program, within that building, uh, as it matters in that particular instance. Um, let's see here. So this is just an example of, as we go into these different organizations, and they have different devices that they might use. For example, an owl camera, or the particular other data-driven platforms that might be used. And how do you use them? Where are the how-tos? So we develop the how-tos as well with, as you can see there, some YouTube videos to help along and to refer back to if we're not around to help. So you see a lot of that going into the general training of all the organizations that are involved in the partnership and in gathering of resources. So this, comprehensive approach ensures that the project not only teaches digital skills, but addresses systematic barriers to technology access and usage in those communities that we mentioned. I'm just going to take a look at the chat real quick before I go to the actual resource part, and see if there's any questions so far, maybe suggestions on what you're using, or what I might want to add to um, this bullet points here. I'm looking through here to see a lot of introductions, but no questions. So if you have any questions so far, go ahead and put them in the chat. Um, I'm going to go over to the next slides, which obviously, as we look to effectively support a digital inclusion community initiative, these are the templates and resources, I guess, or where to find these templates and resources that we can look at. So curriculum and training templates. And what I'd like to do is, obviously, as this is the QR code and the web page for the Digital Inclusion Week resources over at COABE. Digital literacy curriculum outlines. Many of us use a number of different digital literacy curriculums, or we've developed our own. We also use a number of different lesson plan templates, and use that. Many of us use North Star for these things, and we also have added training assessment templates. And then, of course, the certification and completion templates that you can find on your own. So what I'd like you to do is in the chat, put a link in the, sure, I could do that. Of course I can. 1 second here. Let me grab it real quick and I'll put it in there. Any other questions? I'll tell you what, while I'm putting this link in there, can you let me know what type of templates you're using for curriculum, or have you put together your own curriculum? Are you using something? Um, well, thank you, Lindsay. All right, well, that's taken care of. All right, so yeah, in the chat, please. Let me know. Curriculum outlines, suggestions on curriculum outlines. What are you using out there? As well as lesson templates. What are you using? You creating your own? What are you using to create them? Okay. Anyone else? I see North Star on there. Anything else? Okay, we'll keep going here. So as we go on the I'm going to see if I can connect over here to the resource page. And if we go on the resource page here, uh, the link is in the chat. So I see a few, oh, great, skill blocks. Yes. Please take a look at the chat, and you can see some other curriculum building lesson plan templates that you definitely can find. And both of these mentioned here, skill blocks and North Star. Uh, Anything else? Go ahead, keep putting them in there. Ready for industry and national draw resources, yes. And then of course TSTM, yes. Some great resources there with these built-in templates and so on. And I'm just going to go back to the screen here. Keep putting those in there in the chat, and I will just take you over to the resource area here. Obviously, we've kept the ACP stuff on because there's a lot of great information in there, and there's a lot of post info and post data, and then obviously those what's been happening to try to bring this back or something close to it, and the different legislation going on. So yeah, please, you can always take a look at those. All right, let me see. Creating our own based on knowledge. Most of our students are beginning with new digital literacy, so learning how to use the Chromebook. Yes, that's awesome. And typing using a mouse, perfect. We use GCF Globo. Yes, um, advertised quite a bit. I think it's been pointed out by at least two presenters throughout the week. Just some great stuff. Keep putting them in there. So as I just go through the COABE site here, there's still some great bead and resources information. There's still the bead process is still going on. Obviously, a lot more related to broadband and in scope. Um, but once again, just some great information there as well. Let me see. I'm keep looking at the chat here. So applied digital skills through Google. Yes, another excellent resource. Um, Thank you. Keep putting them in there. And then as I go down through the resources here, one of my favorite sections here, obviously, is all the resources here that you see under digital equity, and just a number of fact sheets, the Internet for All package, which has a number of templates as well that you can look through there. If you take a look at some of the information, and as you can see, the digital equity checklist that Digital Promise offers, as well as learning how to advocate for digital literacy and digital inclusion, as we look at some of those options in um, National Skills Coalition down the page there, and some of the other, um, the Center for Digital Equity, which also has a number of templates that you can use for that as well for a number of things. Um, the Transforming Immigrant Digital Equity tie from World Education. Just a lot of great information, how lesson plan development and so on to reach the particular needs of that clientele. And then, of course, one of my favorite parts is these interactive maps and charts, which are just amazing at looking at some of that information and so on. But I'm going to go back to the presentation, and obviously a lot of examples as we look at the chat here. And if there's anything else, go right ahead. So as far as you'll be able to see, I'll give you our scaleLit.org site later, and you'll be able to see a lot of our lesson plan templates that we have there through our years of the Digital Learning Lab and other projects, and developed by instructors and shared throughout that site. a number of certificate completion templates, and of course, in many of the programs just mentioned that you're using for digital literacy curriculum and lesson planning and assessment have these certificates that you can just, print out, type in the name and print out, or of course, award it electronically, um, as well as with badging. Okay, great. I'm going to go on to the next one and ask you a few more questions. But before I do that, I just want to show you a little bit of our North Star success in through our North Star network, which actually has about 50 plus organizations throughout the state of Illinois. And as we increase usage through professional development, through analyzing data through different platforms, which I will show you in a minute, and then, of course, through different data representations like this one that we can show others to join the network and gain these successes for the needs of their clients and learners. Okay, so flyers, posters, templates, social media postings. We're all into that. We all are, especially this week. We should be doing a lot of that. Twitter storms and on Instagram, Facebook, X. Get this stuff out, share it with people all over the country, share it with your legislators, and let everyone know what the scope of this is and what the need is. Um, so that the flyers, the templates, ready to edit marketing materials to promote digital literacy training sessions, device distribution programs, internet access opportunities, those social media post templates, the graphics, the text templates that can be used to announce events, share tips on digital literacy and promote success stories. Very important. I always underline three times the success stories. A standardized format for sending regular updates to your community members about workshops and new resources and success stories. Obviously, that's our newsletter, and that's our newsletter template. A document that outlines the initiatives and goals and potential areas of collaboration designed to be shared, with your schools, your libraries, your businesses, your partners, right? A lot of this we are actually always actively working on as members of the Chicago Digital Equity Coalition and the Illinois Broadband Lab, as well as now the Cook County Equity Task Force as well. So a lot of this information is shared and developed. But what I'd like to know from you in the chat now is what platforms do you use to produce this back home? Flyers, posters, social media posts, newsletters. Let's see it in the chat. What are you guys using out there? Oh, Canva. Three in a row for Canva. Okay. Uh, Anyone else? How about the email, newsletter, social media posts? Okay. And how do you create those? What platform are you using to create those? But good question. Got a question for I'm interested to know what people use for newsletters. So help out Claudia there and the rest of us and let us know. What do you use for newsletters? Okay. So Canva used for newsletters as well. Word could be done. And obviously there's some templates you can find in there. I'm interested any but, well, let's see what else we get here. Okay, mostly Canva. Any newsletter template creation? I know that you can also use Constant Contact, right? Some people use that. Word, Canva, Publisher. Great. Awesome. Great stuff here. And yeah, and I think the ones I have up here, not all of them were created by Canva, but at least two of them were. But just some examples. Axios. I'm making sure I'm gonna copy all of these because I'm interested. Let's see, someone suggested one that I have not heard of here. S'more, was it? Yeah, whoever put that down, can you tell us a little bit more about S'more in the chat? That would be great. Or if anyone else can, while I continue here. Okay. All right. So participants in program management templates. Okay. So in the chat, yes, of course. And that is something I was waiting for someone else. S'more, used by the school system, allows parents and students to translate into hundreds of languages. Awesome. Awesome. Make a note of that. I will. Thank you, Andrew. Um, and then, yes, Norma, great point, and I was hoping someone would mention that as well. Yeah, just a paper copy, flyers, the traditional way, and going by the libraries and the churches and the places where people meet the most, and dropping off that hard copy goes a long way. Of course, with our potential learners and clients for the obvious reasons, and with Norma in the chat. Yeah, mailers, of course. Thank you. Um, great, great. So participant program management templates. This is always very interesting. We work with a huge referral system with a large number of partners and ever growing because we need to build that community. That's how we stay strong. So, participant intake forms, referral form templates, attendance tracking, all just very, very important parts of this. As we look at the participant intake form, a standardized form, to gather, basic information and about program participants, and a form to refer individuals to other digital inclusion programs or job training or community service. That referral form template is always changing and it's just so important. Attendance tracking sheets, whether it's a sign in electronically or still by hand. It can be done with a simple Excel sheet, a Google sheet, and other forms, which I will mention in a minute. And then, of course, a volunteer trainer sign up form. It's obviously, once again, you can make it a standardized form. All four of these, we actually use a program called Airtable, and you can look it up. Very popular, all system related tracking. Very important because it could be shared through the partners, and that data can help to grow programs and obviously grow engagement. And take a look at that. That's just very suitable and tailored as needed. So great way. Once again, in the chat. Uh, okay, so in the chat, what do you use for attendance, for example? Or maybe you do have a referral template. What are you using for that? Or a volunteer sign up. And then, of course, the big one, which is the first one, what do you use for a participant intake form? And here's a better example. If you have a participant intake form, or a better question for this particular example, if you have a participant intake form, is it accessible online? So let me hear. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, that is the address to the Airtable. Awesome. And when you get this, these slides, which you will, um, the there's links to all of this on here. I just don't want to go into every site because that might take a little bit of time. Awesome. So yes, the intakes, it looks like a lot of the intakes, it was during COVID, but now paper in class and then transfer. Yes, that's and that's what I thought I'd hear from some people. So I remember that during COVID, this was a big issue to get that participant intake form online and make sure that the data went somewhere so it could be tracked all virtually, right? All online, where you didn't have to go into the office, but it's um, some have returned back to paper and pen. Uh, but yeah, oh, this is great. I'm seeing a lot. I'm seeing a lot here that the intake forms are online and working great. Awesome, awesome. And then, of course, a number of the websites as well, and the resource site also. If you read the summary of what's going on that site, you'll see that there are a number of forms as well, and also some examples for referrals and attendance tracking. And I'll reach back and see if I can point out exactly which ones those are as soon as I go over these next two. So the next one is the training support resources. Um, so, step-by-step guides, which I showed you one earlier that we use for the different equipment used at different locations, like for example, the owl. And then these handouts should be handout and downloadable, preferably PDFs, the guide participants through basic tasks, and they could be the learners or the professionals, right? The device user manuals, as I showed you the example of, simplified guides on using and on those distributed devices and so on, and then a quick reference guide for common troubleshooting and checklists as well. We are using a platform called Disco, which actually provides a place for a lot of professional development um, needs, as well as those resources where they can compile a resource library depending on what you want to share. So once again, this is linked into here, and you can look up a little bit more on Disco. But right now, what I'd like to ask you is what type of step-by-step guides or device user manuals and troubleshooting checklists are you developing those on your own, or are you using a system where those professionals can go in? Thank you, Jennifer. Those the Disco link is in there. So let's see. Our intake form is accessible online. Okay, great, great. So anything else you're using here for training support resources? And if you're developing them on your own, a Google form, a Word document, let us know as well. The one I showed you earlier was just a doc and put together with those links. And obviously, as we share it out, we turn it into a PDF and share it out that way. Nothing fancy. And once again, you can find some great examples of this in some of the sites and resources located on ecoid.org, the Digital Equity, Digital Inclusion Week resources. All right, I'm going to keep going here. So evaluation and feedback templates. Once again, per participant feedback, program impact report template, training evaluation templates. Once again, just some examples, and I'll detail these a little more. So participant feedback surveys, right? A template that gathers feedback, right, on the quality of the training, the effectiveness of the instructors, the areas of improvement. The program impact report template, right? A document that summarizes key metrics, very important, and especially with the program that we use that I'm going to share with you. And it demonstrates the successes and so on. So you can share it, right, with your stakeholders and others involved. And then, of course, that training evaluation template, a form that, right, allows trainers and volunteers to evaluate the effectiveness of the training that they're doing, and what changes or additional resources could be added to this for the most effectiveness. And so just some great, and as you can see, the Innovair, thank you again, Jennifer. The Innovair has been added there as well. And that's what we're using over at scaleLit. And once again, some beautiful charts that you can develop from the data you put in, right? And you get back some examples that are engaging as you show them to others, to prove your need, or to prove your successes within that realm. And once again, this link here, and you can learn a lot more about Innovair as well. Any questions, or maybe some suggestions on what type of reporting you use? There's a lot of platforms out there to just put out some nice colored, very animated charts and tables on your work. So if you know of any others that you might use for program impact tracking, training evaluation templates, or that participant feedback. Once again, I'll mention Constant Contact again because I use that quite a bit. SurveyMonkey as well. And I'm sure you can find quite a few different free or partially free platforms that allow you to create all three of these. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next one. So funding and grant resources, grant proposal templates, budget templates, donation letter templates. So we just had the release of the NTIA grants, and can anyone let me know how many connectable for adult ed? Yes, great stuff. Very familiar. One of our teachers had created a YouTube training videos for teachers. Awesome. That always works, and that's something you can share with so many people and so easily. So across all your partners. Um, Grant proposal templates, budget templates, donation letter, request letter templates. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this. There's so many of these, and some of them are part of a grant proposal, and they might be the particular template that they are giving you for that template, um, for that proposal. So the donation request letters are always interesting. So as I was mentioning, so from this grant recently, anyone out there received um, an ask for a letter of support, or even as you couldn't apply for that grant, but maybe you have a donation that was given to you and you requested for something else. Is this something you have a template for, or is this something that you work with depending on the grant? But let me know if you have encountered that. I did recently, wrote out exactly three letters of support for different grants and other organizations as partners, as they would do for the other partners um, in that project. Okay, heading towards the end here. Administrative and policy templates. So the data privacy policy templates, volunteer agreement templates, code of conduct templates, all of this needed to just have that solidification with partners and how we're going to work together and how that's all going to. There are so many examples of these, especially when you look at the digital equity section at coabe.org's digital inclusion. Um, Resources, you'll be able to see there's a section there on digital equity. There's a few sites there, and I will, like I said, I will get right back to it at the end here, where you'll be able to find a number of templates relating to agreements and even data privacy policies as well. Remember, don't need to recreate. This stuff is out there. The resources are out there. The resources have been gathered, vetted, and in some cases, whether it's been removed or not, that if that information is still there for use, it might be valuable and not removed from our site yet. Technical setup and support templates, mentioned a bunch of these. A Wi-Fi setup guide is something that worked with on a number of organizations which are just starting to set up a lab. They're just starting to get Wi-Fi throughout their building and so on. That device setup and maintenance checklist is so important, especially as a you set up a new digital lab, uh, and quite a few things that need to be um, um, maintained on a regular schedule as well. Okay, so just a quick example. This is right off the COIB.org digital inclusion resources. CompuDot, for example, the tech devices give away computers for people, human IT pieces, PCs for people. A lot of information there, links right to them. A lot of forms in some of these to complete, and definitely something to use as a navigation tool to teach your navigators how to complete these so they can um, help those coming in for this help to attain a free or low cost product from any one of these locations. The Any one of you out there, have you worked or helped someone obtain a device from any one of these four, or all of them, or some of them? Let me know in the chat. And if I get a few of you to let me know which ones you use, I got a follow-up question. Okay, nobody's used these? Awesome. Okay, I see in the chat there. It's great. Good luck with that. And well, for example, if you have not had a chance to go on any one of these sites, please do so before you help somebody else with, asking or ordering a computer. There's forms to fill. There's questions to ask. There may be documents to be uploaded. So once again, great information to know where to go. Also, even better to know how to complete those forms and to be there available as a resource, as that navigator to help those um, with attaining those free or low cost devices from these places. Same thing with the internet service as well. So these templates and resources, they're standardized framework in many cases. All those you're going to find online, and the ones that I'm sharing. But that consistency across various locations and trainers make things easier, right? To manage the participants, evaluate outcomes, and collaborate with partners, which is the big um, part here. And then I guess that building it across the system is a task, but it's something that could be done and shared among everyone involved. Okay, I'm leaving it open as I have our scale it links to social media up here. Please, there's still hours left in Digital Inclusion Week, and of course, this information is always hopefully coming in. Fill out the sign. Let me know how digital literacy matters to you, right? And share the signs all across and social media. Questions? Put them in the chat. Yes, the presentation will be shared, and there are links in this presentation as well. Many of the icons or pictures have links. Anything you'd like to add to these resources? Maybe you have a number of resources that you would like to share. Do you have a resource site? You can share this right now in the chat as well. No, you're all pretty quiet out there. Okay. Um, I know it's Friday. But like I said, there's still hours left. Keep that involvement going and engagement with Digital Inclusion Week. Um, keep COAB and that social media tags, and let's continue to let people know what we do. There's my contact information. And yes, there is one more session later on today. Please join Jennifer Wigginton's team in their session about what they're doing in the great state of Indiana. And should be pretty awesome. I will be there. Thank you all. Have a great day. Happy Digital Inclusion Week.